Alright, I was about to go to sleep, but it looks like Max Loren has a question. He said he wants a new ability. Basically, what our ability is going to do is whenever a unit drops below 200 hit points, the ability activates, and every unit that damages him gets healed for that amount of damage. That could be, I think that should be pretty doable. So let's do that. Basically, we're going to have some globals such as constant integer unit ID equals, I don't know, or what, ability ID, right? Abil ID. I didn't come up with what that is going to be yet. Probably going to be A00 and then some test map. And then what we're going to have is, this is going to be like a scope, right? Or is it a library? It doesn't matter. A library... Magic shell. Initializer. Init, right? Initializer init. That should work. That just disappeared when I clicked tab. Really? Really? Wow. What a bad program. Alright. Library magic shell initializer init, because the modern game allows you to have libraries built in or whatever. So we're going to do that. We're going to have, what, private function init takes nothing, returns nothing, and function and library. So now we have our library. Basically, you're going to have your init function, and you're going to have this idea of some triggers, right? So we're going to have some triggers in here. Trigger T, let's create trigger. Let's see, this is going to be learn trigger, and we'll have another trigger, damage trigger, for when you get damaged. Right? Although actually that doesn't make as much sense. Let's not do that. Let's just start with learn trigger. So learn trigger is going to be called trigger. See, we could use. I like to just get it done, so I'm probably going to use register any unit event. Any unit event BJ. A lot of people don't like BJ functions because they kind of sometimes they leak a little bit of memory on like when you use them. But I'm just using this one on startup anyway. So I'm gonna register any unit event. We're gonna register what is it? Trigger any event. Great. So it's gonna be the learn trigger, and the idea is player unit learn event player unit learn hero event player hero skill, I believe it is. Yeah, that's what we want. Sorry, event player hero skill. It's basically when your hero levels up the skill, so that now they have this skill. Now it's going to activate this behavior so that now when he gets attacked, it's passive, so it's just whenever he gets attacked after that happens, it's going to cause this to happen. So when that happens, when he learns the skill, then we're going to have a function on, I guess it'll just be private. I don't know, private function magic shell on learn, or we're going to just on learn, takes nothing, returns nothing. So that's the idea, right, is like, this being your function, and call trigger add action learn trigger function on learn. So like when you learn the hero skill, it's gonna set up, it's gonna call this other function over here, right? And somebody told me years ago you have to do set learn trigger equals null for like fixing some bug in the game. All right, great. So here's the on learn function, and on learn, what this is the interesting thing, right? You're gonna learn the ability, and then, well, first let's have, I guess, local integer level equals get unit ability level, get learning unit, I believe. Yeah, abil ID. Is there a get learned? Let's see, get learned skill. We could do that. That's like more modular code, I guess. Sure, get learned skill. Wait, they actually have get learned skill level? I didn't know that. All right, fine. Get learned. That's a better one. Get learned skill level. I forgot that that existed. I think I forgot to use that years ago when I did a lot of this. So we get our learned skill level, right? So I'm learning this skill, and I'm gonna get like, okay, what level is this skill that I'm gonna learn? And then depending on that level, if level equals 0, then we're gonna create a trigger for it, right? So this is the trick. Like every hero who learns this skill is gonna have a trigger created correspondent to that particular hero, right? And this is gonna be the damage trigger. Equals create trigger, but it can't equal create trigger yet, so it's gonna start out equaling null because we might not. And then what we're gonna do is set damage trigger equal to create trigger, right? So like we're gonna make the trigger for that. When you learn the skill, and every guy who learns the skill is going to have his own trigger for him getting damaged. This is necessary because there's not a damage detection system in the game itself, and I'm too lazy to go get one from the Hive because I'm just writing my own code in a text editor. So that's what you have. There you have it. Damage trigger equals create trigger. So we do that. Actually, I don't know why I started at level 0. Actually, it should be level 1. So you learn level 1, it'll create the trigger. That makes more sense. Else, we have to load the trigger back, right? Else set damage trigger. Maybe we want to do something with it. Actually, we probably don't have to do that. Let's just create it for level 1. So you create the trigger, and what are you going to do with it, right? We're going to say trigger register unit event, and then we're going to put it on the damage trigger. And this one's interesting because it takes a unit, right? So this is where we get learning unit. That guy who learned the skill now has a trigger when he takes damage, and the event is going to be event unit damaged. So when he takes damage, this trigger is going to fire. But here's the thing, right? This only works if he's below 200 hit points. So we also have to show that somehow. So in order to show if he's below 200 hit points, we need to do a couple more things. And we're getting to this point here also where we need to have hash table, like MS table for magic shell table equals init hash table. And some people don't like hash tables. Some people like unit indexers because I guess it's a little bit faster in terms of like performance. But again, I'm right now just enjoying the ability to just write this in a separate file, and we'll just stick it in the game and maybe it'll work. And so going that route, right, if I don't want any dependencies, I sort of have to do this to not have dependencies. So once I have this hash table, and of course this is where I'm going to use save unit handle, right? Because basically what I want to do, and I think my code editor here doesn't have save unit. Yeah, they don't have, it's bugs. But we're going to call save unit handle on MS table. And basically what we want to do is just correspond it to the handle ID of the damage trigger. And that'll give us the ability, if we know of the damage trigger in code, we don't know of the unit, we'll be able to get the unit back, right? So then what we're going to do is we're going to save get learned unit. And since I'm using it twice, let's go ahead and stick in a variable. So we're going to have local unit learning unit equals get learning unit, right? So we can reference the learning unit, and then we'll replace the reference to get learning unit here with that. We'll replace it here with that. So now in our trigger's actual code, we're going to be able to figure out who the unit that the trigger referred to was. It's particularly useful for a couple of various things. So we have that, but we need, really I guess we need 2 triggers, because we need another one that would be like event unit life, basically, but register hit point event or something, right? Trigger register unit life event. This right here, the unit life event, which is specifically unit state event. Okay, so it actually is unit state event, which I guess is where there's the idea of the limit val. Unit state. State life. Absolute maximum. For this one, let's look at the actual world editor. It's just going to be a little bit more straightforward to think about. So for that, what you want to do is just say make a trigger, right? And this is the kind of trigger we're going to be creating. It's a life trigger, right? Unit's life becomes less than 50. Clearly, this doesn't actually have percentages, which is bad. But that's okay, because right here we just have 200 hit points. So actually, yeah, that's fine. So, okay, great. Opcode less than or equal to. So we're going to have a second trigger up here with damage trigger. That's going to be local trigger life trigger. And that's going to be set equal to null. So the life trigger is going to be the second one we're going to create, right? When you learn the skill. So you learn the skill, and suddenly you have your damage trigger and your life trigger. Here's your life trigger. And what we're going to do is we're going to call trigger register unit state event. And so then the life trigger is going to fire when the learning unit has his unit state life become less than or equal to 200. That's pretty good, but I gotta make sure less than or equal to is an op code. Limit op. Yeah, it's a limit op. Okay, great. It needed to be a limit op in order for that to work. So, unit state life less than or equal to 200, and basically that's saying, right, that if your unit gets hit and he falls below 200 health, then he's gonna activate his special shell. So to that extent, both of these triggers still need to have a couple of things. And let's go ahead and we'll encode on life trigger. We'll encode the learning unit also, so life trigger could reference that from the table. But we need to start making our behavior functions for like what do these triggers do, right? So we have on shield activate would be the first one, right? And that'll be the first one. So this is on shield activate. So when this happens, trigger add action to the life trigger to do function on shield activate. So you get that, you get the life trigger on shield activate is going to happen, and it's going to mean that now the shield is activating, so you can just turn on the other trigger, right? So this has the other interesting effect that we want to save in the table whether the trigger's on or not, which means we want to save also the damage trigger in the life trigger. So we're going to save trigger handle that now the life trigger knows about the corresponding damage trigger so he can turn it on and off, which is actually really interesting, right? And we'll have private function on damage takes nothing, returns nothing, and function. I'm also starting to wonder, I think they might have finally added get event damage amount. Did they finally do that? Because originally, I don't think you could figure out. Could you figure that out? If I do a condition on a real, can I say event response damage taken, unit takes damage event? Yeah, okay, there is. Get damage amount. I guess that is a thing. Cool. Great. So, what we're going to do is on shield activate, we're gonna tell the damage trigger it's on, and when it's off, we're gonna tell it it's off. So let's do that. I mean, this is making me think for our shield, we're gonna need a bubble effect, right? So for this, you're gonna want the invulnerability buff, invulnerable target. This guy here, actually not that guy. No. Staff of Sanctuary, right? Sanctuary looks pretty good, right? This one. This one, we're going to use a golden bubble. That's what I think I'm going to use, is this golden bubble while it's active. So this is going to be a constant string bubble path is going to just equal this thing. And, of course, it needs double backslash, right? Double backslash, double backslash, double backslash, double backslash. Great. So that's going to be our bubble path. And then we're also going to want just from the ability heal, right? We're going to have this heal effect. It's going to be happening. So we're going to have constant string heal path. It's going to equal pretty much the same here, but yeah, we're just going to make that heal. So basically, yeah, the idea being you have on shield activate. It's going to happen when your thing falls below the amount. But effectively, this guy's going to be turning the trigger on and off. So we have on shield activate down here, and then we're going to have call trigger add action to the damage trigger. It's going to be function on damage, right? And so that's going to be damage trigger is going to have that, and then we're going to have the life trigger. But the life trigger knows about the damage trigger, and this is special, right? Because I guess we actually need 2 life triggers, because we need life trigger for like falling below, and we need life above trigger. So that's kind of crazy, but let's go ahead and do it. Sure, life trigger and life above trigger. So you got to make do with what you got, right? Life trigger, life above trigger. Now my life above trigger, and what that means is if it gets less than or equal to blah, but also if we have greater than 200, we're gonna have the life above trigger activate. Life above trigger. There we go. This is a life above trigger. Life above trigger, firing off of learning unit. It's going to know about learning unit, but it's going to know about the damage trigger. Maybe it doesn't need to know about learning unit, actually. I'm a little curious. I'm a little skeptical. Maybe it doesn't. Let's try it. So what if I just say that life trigger, which is really going to now be life below trigger, and life above trigger both exist, and they turn the other guy on and off. They turn the damage trigger on and off. It's pretty simple, right? Life below trigger, life above trigger. And this is going to be on shield activate and on shield deactivate. Because deactivate is going to be life above trigger. So your life falls below, we call on shield activate. Your life goes above, we call on shield deactivate. And what that's going to do is... Oh, we do need to know the unit. We do need to know the unit. I was wrong. I was wrong. We do need to know the unit. Save it in the table. Alright. So because we save this in the table, right, both of these functions can say local unit. We'll just call it source unit, right? It's like the guy who's getting, well, it's actually not a good name. Shielded unit, right? It's the hero, the main hero, the shielded unit, is going to be load unit handle, right? Load unit handle. Yep, load unit handle. And if I click on it here, it should show me the line of code correspondent to it from MS table. And the parent key is get handle ID. So for that, I actually need to have integer, or what, local integer key equals get handle ID, get triggering trigger. And we'll be using this key a lot, as you'll see. So this is the key here. We're going to get thing 0 is the shielded unit, and the trigger, the damage trigger then is thing 1. Right, which is load trigger handle. So this is going to mean that when the shield deactivates, what I'm going to do is call trigger disable, or maybe trigger enable false, maybe disable trigger. What's the name of that? Disable trigger? Disable trigger on the damage trigger. There we go. We're going to disable the damage trigger. And then on shield activate, we're going to do the exact same thing, and the opposite, we're going to call enable trigger on the damage trigger. But I would even go so far as to go a step after that. Along with enabling and disabling the trigger, we also want to be putting this Staff of Sanctuary awesome glow on the guy while he's shielded, right? So for that, I seem to recall that this thing looks best on overhead. So, at least on head. Let's do overhead. We'll try overhead. Maybe it doesn't look good on overhead. What is it supposed to attach to? Chest. We'll do the chest. I don't know. We'll attach to something. So when the shield activates, right, this is where we want to have an effect that's going to be bubble glow, right, which is going to be add special effect on unit to unit. Add special effect unit. What is it called? It's been a while. Target. That makes sense. Add special effect target. And this is going to be bubble path, and it's going to be added to the shielded unit. And this is what I was talking about. We're going to stick it on the chest node. So, great. That we're going to like stick onto the model. This bubble glow when he's affected. If you're going to do this professionally, I think you also need to put like a buff on him, but I don't feel like it. Actually, I take that back. I do feel like it. Let's do it. Let's do it. What we're going to do is we're going to get tornado. Everybody knows tornado slow aura is good for this, right? Slow aura tornado. Yeah, great. Oh, wrong button. Nope, map abort. Good. All right. Tornado slow aura tornado, right? Tornado slow aura. Here we go. This thing, what we can do is we can give this the sanctuary target actually, and then I don't even have to do it. And then we can have an icon be bark skin, magic shield, magic shield. Sorry, magic shield. This unit is magically shielded and will regain hit points when attacked. Great, so he's magically shielded and will regain hit points when he's attacked. And now it's not going to say slower. So this is a magic shield buff. Obviously, as a buff, it doesn't do anything. But we can go ahead and put the magic shield buff on here. We'll set this to 0. And I can say, alright, this is magic shield buff. And then just make sure it only targets self and has a -1 area of effect. So it just buffs itself. And if I remember right, it may be the case that it actually uses this target attachment. It's been a while. That might be the case. So put that target attachment on there. We'll make sure they'll both set just in case. So we'll be putting this sanctuary effect on the character. So that should be pretty good. We have the sanctuary effect, so I don't actually need to do this bubble glow anymore, which is great. That's going to save me a lot of time, I think, because sometimes managing those could be really annoying. So I'm just going to call unit add ability. I'm just going to add shielded unit A00, which actually means then this is going to be A01 as our rock put up here. That also gives me the ability to equivalently just say unit remove ability down here, which is also very straightforward. So now we have this idea that we have a trigger that turns on and off, and we actually want it to be off by default, probably. So we'll do that here, starting off. Wait, that's enable. Sorry, disable trigger, damage trigger when it's first created. But we have this damage trigger, so I think the only thing left to do is to say that when you do get damaged, we just restore your health, just like Max Loren wanted, right? Make custom pass ability when my unit drops. Gets healed for the amount of damage. Its ability. Every unit damage system gets healed for that amount. Alright, I haven't really played Dota, so I don't really know about that. But I know about how heal works. Heal is call set unit or actually let's first get key. I should do this the smart way. Get key, and we get the shielded unit. And then set unit state shielded unit unit state life get unit state shielded unit state life plus get event damage times 2. So I figured times 2 because then I'm canceling out the damage he was going to take, plus I'm healing him instead. Then what you can do is you can do destroy effect, add special effect target. That way it doesn't leak. Heal path to shielded unit. Origin, probably. Yeah, so basically this one means that then he gets a splashy heal effect on him when he gets attacked. So this doesn't have multiple hero ability levels yet, but let's see if it works. I mean, it might. I don't know. Make a new trigger called Magic Shield, and we'll put it in the game. See what we got. typically these things don't work the first time. So we do that. Let's make like a blood mage who has this magic shield ability, which is going to be made from, I don't know, true sight, because that seems good, right? Give it a cast range of -1. Make it target none. And we'll make it a hero ability so we can have a hero learn. That should be great. Just give it this bark skin icon. True sight. Magic shield. Defends when below 200 HP. That's the description. Magic shield. Defends when below 200 HP. And let's give that to a custom blood mage. 001. Magic shield. Great. And now I just need to place a blood mage on the map and save the map and see where we're at. Documents. Craft maps. Test. Shield spell. Sure. Oh, apparently there's an error. Unknown compile error. Oh, yeah, okay. I had Jazz Helper turned off. Let me turn that back on. You gotta have Jazz Helper turned on. Oh, this one just needs a closed parenthesis. That's all. Yeah, just needed one of those. Might need two actually. Declared variable life below trigger. Oh yeah, okay. So on this one, life above and below trigger need to each have their own name. Great, success. So there we go. I should have got more units for myself though. Let's get some units. Like I need something to attack him, right? So like there, and I have the money to build like some riflemen or something to attack him. I have no idea why the game just crashed, to be honest with you. None, not a clue. Let me just put in some riflemen and try again. That will just get me there faster. Alright, great. So here's this guy. So here's the magic shield. I can't click it, right? It's passive. And then if I just shoot at him a lot, I'm just wondering if he's going to get healed back up. Yeah, see, then he gets this shield, so now he's getting healed every time they attack him. Now, the weird thing about his magic shield is that I don't see the heal effect. So my intention was that we would see the heal effect. You know? So let's look at that. Let's look at heal target. Birth and death. I guess it's not playing its birth. So that makes sense. Oh wait, sorry, don't look at that. Where am I going? I'm going over here. I'm going over here. It's not playing its death animation, which is not good. I guess we have to add it and then do something about it later. I need a timer. I need a time special effect. Alright, well for now we're just going to do pulled weight 2.0 and then destroy effects. That's kind of terrible, but I think maybe it'll get the job done. Let's try it. Now being the idea that if I put the shield on him, everybody attacks him. Yeah, there you go. Well, it's clearly not working yet. Oh, I forgot to paste it back in here. That'll do it. Oh yeah, there's supposed to be a D. It's supposed to be pulled weight. That was a typo too. So the other interesting thing about this spell, right, is that you got to be able to have two different guys. It's a good thing with any spell is you should test, can two different characters both have the spell and they both work. So let me just see if I can do that. This guy has a magic shell. This guy has a magic shell. All right, everybody attack that guy first. So we get 200 health. Yeah, see, there you go. Now we see the healing effect really popping off of there. If I attack him, we can see. I don't know why it's only firing every third time. That's pretty weird. It shouldn't only fire every third time. Right? Oh, it's because of the 200 hit points. That does make sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then when I shoot him and he's below 200, he goes back up. Right? Yeah, there you go. But, I mean, to me, it's interesting that, although it doesn't seem to remove the ability correctly. Yeah, okay, here's why it doesn't remove the ability correctly. So we fixed that typo where it said a below and it needed to say above. That'll make the shield come and go. That'll make that a lot more logical. And then we could test the case of two different guys who both have the shield. So we'll just copy that into the map here. Let's see. You gotta always delete first and then paste, otherwise you get memory corruption. I forgot. Yeah, okay. Pulled weight was supposed to be pulled weight. That's right. Pulled weight, not pollet weight. All right. I agree with you, computer. Here we go. Man, I gotta sleep though, so we're almost done. We are definitely almost done. All right, let's do this. Let's see. Guy on the left, activate your shield. Guy on the right is gonna also have the shield, but they activate one at a time, right? So this guy, I'm gonna shoot him a bunch, and as you'll see, now his shield is coming and going. Like now he's not shielded because he got above 200 when I shot him from the healing. Now I'll shoot him again. He'll fall back below 200. So it doesn't have a cooldown yet, which is obviously an issue in its design. But if I shoot him again, it'll probably get him above 200, so it wears off. But here's the interesting thing, right? I can get this guy and that guy both separately. And when we get him below, now he's got the same thing. He's going below and above and below and above and below and above. So potentially I should probably like design this in like a different way or something. But it does seem to work. And then when he regens up above 200, the shield will disappear. It's like now he has a shield, he regens up to 200, and the shield disappears. So it seems to work, but my particular design makes him invulnerable, right? Because he can't, anytime he goes below 200 hit points, he's basically immune to all attacks. So you'd want to code this like in some smarter, better way than what I did, because now I just have invulnerable blood mages. But yeah, I mean maybe if you have like a cooldown or something, Or give it a duration instead of... That's probably the way to do it. That's probably what they do in Dota, right? I don't know. I haven't played it, but that's my guess. Is they probably make it time out after a certain time, don't they? That that would make a lot of sense. What if we want to do that, right? What if we do? If we wanted to do that, all you would have to do would be to get rid of the life above trigger, right? And say that going back above that amount doesn't turn it off. And instead, what turns it off is just a timer of sorts, which you could almost just say on shield activate, then say enable trigger, and we just want some way to lock it out from itself, really. That's the thing it needs is a cooldown, right? It needs a cooldown and a timer. But we could do a timer pretty easily, as long as we don't worry about the cooldown. So then I could just say pulled weight. I'm basically cheating. If you're gonna do this like professionally, you don't really probably want to do pulled weight. People online don't like it anymore. But yeah, you can do pulled weight, and then you can just say, all right, now I do that, and then at the end, unit remove ability, shielded unit, A001 or 0, sorry, A00, and disable trigger, damage trigger, and that should make it timeout. So let's have a boolean. Boolean blocked, right? Or like is running, right? Boolean is running equals load boolean. What do they call it? Load bool? Load boolean. Yeah, okay. Load boolean from ms table key. Key 2. So what this is going to do is running by default will be false, but then what we're going to do is call save boolean ms table key 2 true, and then we'll do another pulled wait for about 30 more seconds, maybe 40 seconds, and then we'll save boolean ms table key to false. So basically that should give us the effect of a rudimentary cooldown, right? So that way we'll have some kind of rudimentary cooldown in there is kind of what I'm thinking. It's getting late though, I'm starting to get tired. Been a while since I coded this much JAS. JAS is questionable. Alright, let's see, we'll get some of these guys. So what this should do actually is give him a shield for 30 seconds. It'll make him basically totally invulnerable. And then, it didn't work. Really. Really. Didn't work at all. You still have the life below trigger. Alright. If not is running, right? Then do all the stuff. And if. So why did that not work? We load the boolean and then save the boolean to true. Maybe I need to save it to false starting off. Just for good measure. But life above trigger is gone, so on shield activate. Enable trigger damage trigger, right? Why would that not work? Should be pretty close now. Doesn't work at all. Oh wait, I know why it doesn't work. It's because I didn't learn the skill. Sorry, like I said, it's getting late. I'm starting to get tired here. There we go. Now I learned the skill, right? You have to do that. Otherwise, you don't have the shield, right? Okay. This guy learned the skill. Now he regenerates all the damage he's taking. So it's like really bad that they're attacking him. But eventually it's going to wear off, right? So this is where I've instituted a cooldown. So eventually it's going to wear off. So like right now he's basically immune to all their attacks, but it should only last about 30 seconds. I guess 30 seconds is a long time. Oh wait, there it goes. It wore off while I looked away. Okay. And now when he can pass below 200 and it won't even shield him because it's on cooldown. There you go. Now let's find out if it works when he comes back, because that'll be about the length of the cooldown, right? Is this the guy with the ability? This is the guy who doesn't have the ability. All right, so here's the guy who doesn't have the ability, and there's the guy who does. And I think the guy who does probably still has it on cooldown. So let's try him first. His might still be on cooldown. I don't really know. Nope, that doesn't look like cooldown to me. All right, he's not on cooldown. Let's try this guy. All right, yeah, just both of them finished their cooldowns, I guess. They're just both not on cooldown. So there you go. That's pretty much how you'd make a shield that activates when you fall below 200 hit points and makes attacks heal you for the amount of damage they deal. So there you go, more or less. There you go. I hope you guys have a good one, and may all your dreams come true.